Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Heart to Heart series. In today's episode, I have a question to ask. Are you a triple threat? Think about that. My name is Deetra Dennis, and I am the founder of Full Circle Health Coaching LLC. And I am the heart health coach to Black women who value, own, and invest in their health. I empower them with evidence based and culturally relevant lifestyle interventions that supports them on their journey to living at their optimal heart health. Well, here at the Heart to Heart series, it's really a girl talk, for us to have talk from the heart about the heart. And we do that over what we call red wine, which is truly is non-alcoholic and it is hibiscus tea. Hibiscus has heart health benefits in that it relaxes the blood vessels, thereby lowering the blood pressure. So that is our drink of choice over here as we have our girl talk. As before we get into the content, I want to invite you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like this video, select the notification or set the notification bell so you are alerted when a new video is posted. Share this information with someone who you feel could benefit from the information that I share, and comment below. Again, this is Girl Talk. So you talk to me in the chat, in the comment, and I'll talk back to you. And that's how we have the conversation going. All right. So let's do that. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and pour up our red wine or our hibiscus tea and cheers to you. And let's chat it up and ask this question. Are you a triple threat? All right, so before we get started with getting into are you a triple threat or not, let's define it. And so if you see me looking down, you know I'm looking at my notes because I like to bring you all the information and details so I can stay on task because you know Chatty Cathy over here, I can go to the left. So I want to stay focused and provide you with the information that is going to be valuable to you to live at your optimal heart health. All right, so triple threat. So when I looked it up in the Cambridge dictionary, there were two definitions for triple threat. So the first one is a person who is skilled in three different areas, especially a performer who can act, dance, and sing. So let me give you an example. So Beyonce, she acts, she sings, and she dances. That's one. You have Queen Latifah, if I can get her name right, Queen Latifah, who is a rapper, a songwriter, and an actress. How about this one? Viola Davis. She is the first Black woman to win a Tony, Emmy, and an Oscar. And in that industry, that is called a triple crown of acting. Okay, so that's an example of the first definition. The second definition is something that has three dangerous or unpleasant features or parts. So again, are you a triple threat? And we're going to focus on that second definition. So have you ever heard of metabolic syndrome? Yes, no, put in the comments if you have heard of metabolic syndrome before. And so it is called like the perfect storm because it when it comes to heart disease, that is what it's called. It's called the perfect storm. And it's a combination of health problems that often occur together that raises the heart um, disease risk significantly. Okay. So here are some things to think about. So the metabolic syndrome is diagnosed when someone has three or more risk factors. And I'm going to list out five, but if they have three or more of these risk factors, that would be considered a metabolic syndrome. So number one, high blood glucose or high blood sugar, a low level of HDL or your good cholesterol. So think of your good cholesterol as the garbage truck, and think of your blood vessels as a roadway. And so the HDL cholesterol basically picks up any trash, any plaque, or things like that in your blood vessels, taking it back to the liver so it's processed. But again, taking it out of the blood vessels so that we have a clear roadway, I'll say, okay, and not a traffic jam, okay? And then the other is high levels of triglycerides, meaning high levels of fat in your blood. And then the large waist circumference, like the apple shape, that is another one of the factors, and then high blood pressure. So if you have three of those five, three or more, that is considered metabolic syndrome. Now, each of those by themselves are a risk of cardiovascular disease. But again, in the combination, three or more of those, that raises your risk significantly if you have three or more of those. And it, like I said, it increases and is a very serious cardiovascular or heart condition. So there are things we can do, even though this is a very serious condition, there are things you can do to reduce your risk. And so I have five things that you can do to reduce your risk of a diagnosis of metabolic syndrome. And so here we go. The first one is losing weight. How about this? Let's say we want to reclaim, as the Commodores say, being a brick house. Huh? Reclaim that? Yes? You remember that song? Drop it in the comments if you remember that song. Or if that one wasn't your song, what about this one by Carl Carlton, A Bad Mama Jamma? How about reclaiming that? Which one? Do you want to be the brick house or do you want to be the bad mama jamma? Reclaiming that. Drop that in the comments below. Number two, increasing physical activity. And listen, it's just a minimum of 30 minutes per day. Most days, I'll say, most days, 30 minutes. If you can't get it all at one time, you can do 3 10-minute segments of working out or 2 segments of 15 minutes of working out. Either way, 30 minutes most days to get active. Find something that's fun. Listen, crank up the music and dance for that amount of time, getting the heart rate going, increasing your heart rate. So getting physically active, moving more. Let's do that. Number three, we talked about this in the 6-part series of A New Legacy Loading, which is a part of the Creating a New Legacy playlist. So listen, eating the heart healthy foods, filling your plate with power, okay? And the power foods are whole grains, your vegetables, your fruit, your beans, nuts and minimal nuts and seeds. All of those, adding that to your plate will be powerful to you and it will reduce your risk. And then managing those numbers that we talked about, your blood pressure, your blood glucose, your triglycerides. So I'm going to give you what are the normal ranges. We went in depth about the high blood pressure during the 6-part series, but I'm going to just list to you what are considered in range numbers, these biometric numbers. So listen in good. So the first one, a normal fasting blood glucose should be less than 100, or blood sugar should be less than 100. Okay. Your total blood cholesterol, we want that less than 200. But when we're talking about the metabolic syndrome, we focus in on the HDL. Remember the garbage truck? We want to focus in on that. And we want those. Now, this is where the numbers we want it higher, because we want as many garbage trucks out there as possible to keep those blood vessels clean, right? Keep that roadway clean, no traffic jams, okay? So number one, for women, we want it greater than 50 milligrams per deciliter for your HDL cholesterol, and for men, greater than 40, okay? The triglycerides, which are the fats in the blood, we want that less than 150, okay? For your waist circumference, listen, again, going back to reclaiming that bad mama jamma or the brick house, whichever one you choose, we want that waist circumference for women less than 35 inches and for men less than 40. And for your blood pressure, we want that less than 120/80. Remember, again, we went over in detail about the blood pressures and the different category of blood pressure, a normal blood pressure and all of those good things. So go there. And lastly, work with your healthcare team to monitor those biometrics that we just mentioned. So as a recap, the 5 ways you can reduce your risk of metabolic syndrome. Number 1, losing weight. Number two, increasing your physical activity. Number three, eating a heart healthy diet, adding power to your plate for each meal with those whole grains, vegetables, fruit, beans, nuts, and seeds. Managing your biometrics, not biometrics, your blood sugar, your HDL cholesterol, your triglycerides, your waist circumference, as well as your blood pressure, managing all that, and then working with your healthcare team to monitor those biometric numbers. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that you found value in what I shared. And again, it's not just for you to listen, but for you to apply the tips that I share with you so that you can live at your optimal heart health. So if you would like to connect with me, go over to Facebook and you can connect with me there at Full Circle Health Coaching LLC. If you would like to become a part of my contact list, go to the website at fullcirclehealthcoachingllc.com. That is where you will receive the weekly newsletter. And, even though I'm sharing here on YouTube, sometimes those that are in the community, they get a little bit more. I might give them a handout or two or other resources to help them because they are part of the family. You share more things with the inner circle than you do with the general public. So they sometimes get a little bit extra. So if you want to come on over there to get the little extras sometimes that I share with the community, go over to fullcirclehealthcoachingllc.com and you can opt in there. So until next week, I want to remind you now that you are the full circle. And within you is the power to create, nurture, and transform. So again, until next week, walk in your power.